Welcome back to the Contracting Handbook Podcast. My next guest has a passion for sharing everything that he knows about framing onto the next generation. He's always been an advocate for improving available tools. And it turns out he's not afraid to call BS. It's Joe Canning, aka the Canadian Carpenter. What's up, Joe?
What's going on, brother?
It's a beautiful day in Alaska. It's a beautiful day in Alaska.
There's beauty here too. Nothing to complain about, really.
No doubt.
Good for great framing weather.
Yeah, not too hot yet, huh?
No, we had our little, whatever you want to call that, 3 days of summer a couple weeks ago. Got us ready for it. So once I got the shorts out, now I'm ready. Let's go.
Nice. Awesome. What are you working on right now? I just saw you standing out in a big wide open area with nothing, no structures.
Yep. First one's in the subdivision.
Cool.
So it begins.
Back to some production framing.
Yes.
Cool. How long have you been framing?
27 years.
It's a good go. How did you end up in the trades?
Funny. I actually had a previous career, and that was in multimedia animation. I was in a very flooded market. Basically, I couldn't get a job, not unless I wanted to move anywhere closer to like Toronto or something like that. But I couldn't find work, and I have a wife and 4 kids, so bills had to get paid. People like to eat, and they like roofs over their heads, so I had to do something. And yeah, I had a friend in the family ask me if I could swing a hammer, and I was like, let's go find out.
Cool. And then, So you went and worked for someone, learned framing from them, and took off on your own, or what?
I learned a lot. I'm the first person who hired me. Yeah, it was not how I thought it would be. It was actually a gong show. Like, it was an absolute gong show. Drinking every day, drugs and everything like that. And I'm like, this is just not where I want to be. And the contractor that guy was subbing from actually was like, you're here every day. This guy screws off and doesn't show up half of the time. He's like, you should come work for me. And I did. So I ended up being the only laborer for a 17-man production framing crew. You learn how to run, and you learn how to get thick skin in a hurry.
Thick skin, no doubt. Wow. Yeah. And how were you? I mean, you learned fast. You grew up fast. That's for sure. How were you as an apprentice?
At first I sucked because I really didn't want to be there, and that was the thing. I was horrible. I would just like purposely not do things I was supposed to do because I was like, man, this really sucks. Because I hadn't really let go of the fact that I had a previous career, and I hadn't let go of it yet. It wasn't for like, I think it was 2 years, I think. And I finally just realized that my career that I had previous had passed me by. It's gone. There's no way to get back to it. I'd have to go back to school, start all over, do the whole 9 yards over again. So I was like, this is actually putting food on my table right now. So I might as well just, hang out here and see what I can do with this, right? Everything was close by, work wasn't too far away. And yeah, I didn't realize once I started paying attention that it was actually going to be something I truly enjoyed. And my days got easier. Right. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And you go ahead.
No, I was just thinking about that kind of resistance at the beginning. I could feel it myself because I had a degree. And I was always doing carpentry on the side, but I never really saw it as a career path because, of course, it wasn't supposed to be a career path.
No,
so I was a little
different way.
yeah. And I think until I actually was self-employed, till I finally was like, you know what, I'm going to start a business. I wasn't totally committed to the idea because I was still kind of thinking about that degree.
Yep.
Still looking back.
Yeah, it sits in the bottom of a drawer collecting dust right now.
You want mine?
It,
I could send.
it can stay right where she's at, right?
Yeah, no
But
doubt.
It's been an interesting path leading up till now for me. Because unless you have drive or ambition to be something or do something with your life, you're going to hate this job, right? You have to want something, right? You have to whether it's be bettering yourself or whatever the case may be, or taking care of your family, or you have to want something. Something has to drive you, because this isn't a career path that you just walk into and go, I got a job, I'll get a raise every year, and it's not like an office job, right? If you don't produce, you don't get paid, right? You don't move up a ladder. You have to want to get to that point. And I stayed pretty much where I was at in the laboring thing for quite a while, until I started getting frustrated, and it started eating at me, and I was just like, I want more, right? So I had to figure all that out, and I stayed a laborer until I got totally pissed off with it, and I needed more money. It wasn't quite, I wasn't making ends meet, and it was frustrating. And because I'm working 12, 13-hour days, some days 14, and I'm still not making it. So I was getting pissed off. And one day I started having like a little mini fit, and I was loading up the unit because that's what my job was. Forklift was in the window with the lumber, and I was just pulling it all in. And I was having a little bitch fit, and I was freaking out. And one of the guys that was working over top of me, they were craning the roof. I was just loading up stuff for back framing and whatnot. And he just said to me, he was like, "What is your problem right now?" And I was like, "You see what I'm doing right now?" I was like, "I got 4 kids, I got a house I need to pay for. Like, this is not what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life." I was like, "I need the money." I'm like, at what point do I start to progress, past this, to get better at what I do and get a raise, right? So if it wasn't for this guy, I don't know what would have ever happened, because he was just like, "You know what?" He's like, "Are you afraid of heights?" I'm like, "I have no idea. I don't think so." So as they were craning the roof, and he just said, "Tomorrow you come up here with me and I'll show you how to sheet the roof." He's like, "The money's up here." And I was like, "I don't know what that means, but I'll see you first thing in the morning." Right.
Yeah.
So I showed up, I was kind of like nervous, excited, and everything like that for first thing in the morning. And, back in the day, it was like no ropes, no nothing, no tie off. You're wearing your bands, your baseball hat, and your pouch, and get going. Yeah. So it was like, I met him the first thing in the morning. I was like, "You still want me to go get up there?" And he's like, "I don't know why you're talking to me. Get up the ladder." So I went up there, and I started sheeting the roof with him. He was showing me like the do's and don'ts real quick, and he's just like, "It's really simple, and if you mess up, you're going to get hurt. So all I need to tell you, just pay attention to what you're doing, respect where you are, and you should be fine." So I just started laying sheets. He sat there, and he backed now behind him. I was his laborer for sheeting, so I just kept laying him and laying him and laying him, and that was my job until I got it down to a science. And meanwhile, while I was up there with him, the boss is down in the forklift, honking on the horn, freaking out, waiting for me to come to the window. And I never showed up until he yelled over the top of the roof tone and just said, "Stop calling him. He's not coming. He's up here with me." So the boss just backed the forklift up there, and he just started watching me up there, and I never labored again. After that day, I just kept going like to different things, and
that's cool.
They started teaching me. So yeah, it went really well. So
that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. That guy gave you the shot.
Yeah. I'll never forget that day, because I was, like I said, I was nervous. I didn't know what to do. Like, when I got up there, I wasn't really afraid, but I definitely understood what he was saying by respect where you are. Because he said things can change in a second, so you got to be ready for it. So,
absolutely.
Like, okay. I'm not sure what that means, but okay. I'm pretty sure I got the gist of it, but not sure how you were describing it. So let's just see how this all goes. So, and ever since then, I sheeted every damn roof ever, every single one. But yeah, like I started, being taught all kinds of things at that point because I wanted more, right? And after I got that section done, where I was like, okay, I can sheet a roof, no problem. Like now we need to learn how to frame said roof, right? So I started trying to figure all that out. Nobody would teach me that one. The only time anybody said anything to me about a roof was my old foreman. Back when I was just a gunner. I didn't really. My job was to sheet things and put things on layout. One day he said it to me. He's just like, "You want to know how to cut a rafter?" Because he was in the back cutting a shed roof in the back of this block of townhouses, and he was just like, "You want to know how to do it?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "I'm only going to tell you this once, and I'm never going to repeat myself." So he did it the old school way with the framing square and like a 99-cent calculator. And he just rambled it off, and he just said to me, he goes, "You ever forget that, I'll never tell you again." And at that time, I'm like, I'm never even going to get near cutting a rafter for however long it takes to get there, right? And I was just like, okay, well, it's in the computer now, so like, and he would randomly say it to us, me and another guy, because he was always trying to put us head to head, and he would just say it, and it was like, "How do you do it?" And you would have to say it right then and there. If you didn't, then he would never share anything with you ever again. So every time, no matter what you were doing, and you had to keep working while you were saying it. So yeah, it would be the most random time. Like you might be banging together interior walls, and then he would be like 2 units down, laying out, and just yell it to you. Go, "How do you do that again?"
Yeah.
But you had to keep, keep your focus while you're nailing. Don't shoot yourself, but yell it back to him. Right. So it always stuck with me. And then after that, I was just like, you know what? I need to know all of it. Right. I need to know. I need to stop being this person. I need to stop being in doing the grind part, and I need to figure out how to get where I want to be. So I started paying attention to everything. And then within a year, I took that guy's job. And yeah, the rest is history.
Very cool.
Yeah.
When you say you were a gunner, were you working on like one of those framing machines, like that basically has layout and you're doing exterior walls and then carrying that out? No. Okay.
All stick framed.
Okay.
Yeah. His job as the foreman was to walk into the interior, just lay out the plates for you, and you go in there as a gunner and you just nail it all together.
Yeah. Load
your walls, nail it, stand it, and be ready for bracing before you leave. And you had minimal time. I was doing interior walls, and then interior walls I was doing in about 45 minutes per unit.
Flying.
So I was shooting probably about 9,000 nails a day just myself. So I did the framing thing ass backwards. I got fast and then good, not good. Yeah. Doesn't work for everybody.
2 boxes a day. That's pretty good for one guy.
Yeah. So
that's pretty impressive. So when did you kind of go off on your own then? How long did you work as a framer for other people?
I stayed with him for 10 years because I thought that's what I needed to do. I had gotten to a point where I had a company truck. I was making a lot of money. Well, not a lot of money. I was making good money. And I stayed there until finally I got, I was running the crew, and he stopped showing up for work like 5 years before that. So I was basically in charge of everything, hours, everything. I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, I'm doing my own gig for somebody else with the idiots that he's hiring and expecting this to happen. So, like I just got frustrated I just got to a point, like he kept hiring guys that were just,